No, I feel like that's where I'm always lacking is that I have no discipline whatsoever. I don't know, well, which is apparent because usually when it comes to like the more esoteric interest, I'm always jumping from subject to subject. I can never stick on one thing for too
Sure.
long. Whether it's learn. Well, I know in previous discussions we had talked about Crowley,
Hmm.
not different streams of Gnosticism, and like I feel like that's where a lot of folks have trouble getting into these more metaphysical topics, is that there's so many different subjective experiences from so many different teachers and so many different perspectives on the material that it's hard to find one path to focus on, and it's hard to find what resonates for you as an individual when there's so much out there.
That's a very important point, and especially in an age of such easy access to information, right? I mean, I remember growing up. I'm 50, so I remember growing up without the internet, right? I didn't have the internet when I was young. I didn't have it in high school, so access to information was much harder to grasp and to get at that time. But I think that is a modern problem. We see it's a contemporary problem. We see that I often refer to that as cafeteria occultism. People are just kind of picking and choosing what they want.
Right.
Some of that's good, some of it's bad, and a lot of it does come with what the environment in which you were raised with, and if you had people that encouraged you to follow things you found interesting. And I was very lucky as a child to have an environment which is very conducive to exploration and learning. And as a young child, I was very much interested in Rudolf Steiner. I was extremely interested in Aleister Crowley at the same time when I was reading any book from Ishkan, Hare Krishna movement that I could get my hands on. And for some reason, the systems from India just really called to me, really struck with me, and that to this day is the foundation of all of my esoteric work. However, I have a great love for many streams of esoteric work from Europe, from the Western worlds, and Gnosticism in general. And my background is very eclectic with that too. So I don't think it's necessarily bad for people to do that, but I do think most people need some kind of root tradition to ground themselves in.
Right. Well, I mean, I think also, primarily a lot of folks who are, looking into the more esoteric side of things. I'm not going to speak in generalities too much, but I'm just going to say the majority of them were dissatisfied with the, tradition they had growing up, and they're just
Yes.
seeking something more, right?
Yeah.
And when you kind of, when the thing that you grew up with kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth, I feel like people look into all these different traditions and they're just waiting for like that feeling or some experience that kind of grounds them into a tradition that kind of makes them uh, feel as if it resonates with them. So let me ask: was there any specific first like spiritual experience that you had when you first started getting into Hinduism that kind of solidified your belief and your efforts and the energy that you wanted to put into that path?
Yeah, that's a good point. I was very lucky to grow up in a very healthy spiritual environment. My family was very liberal Lutheran, but I was sent to Catholic schools all my life,
Mm-hmm.
and that was in Louisiana, which was a very mystical, kind of strange Southern Gothic culture
I love
that was
Louisiana.
was steeped in Catholicism, but also hoodoo
Yeah.
and strange spiritualist traditions were there, and so that I was immersed in that. So, but it was all very positive. I had nothing which bothered me or repressed me, and I could easily kind of read Crowley and Steiner and go to everything. There was nothing kind of causing that. So I was very lucky in that way. But I did find when I was young, and I would read the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads, and I would in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and I would do these practices from yoga, that I would have very clear experiences. That what they described was very clearly happening,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the same thing happen to me when I would study Rudolf Steiner and I would do his particular esoteric practices. I would see clear experiences, and so I have to say this, for me as a child and as a young person, the esoteric world was already alive. It wasn't something that I had to search for, and I had a lot of very strange paranormal experiences as a child, which I think just showed me that there was other dimensions out there, and I was more interested in exploring them. I didn't have anything that I never questioned it really. Actually, it was already there, and so for me, it was just more about what is going on, what is how can we explore this mystical, beautiful world, and then from them, I just kind of followed my gut, my heart, and which we would definitely call from India. It was just my swadharma, my dharma, my karma.
Right.
I was just kind of following them.